to order Community Mental Health Full Board meeting on Wednesday, March 24 of 2021. And first item is board roll call.
Sandy, can you help with that again, please?
Sure can.
Megan's joining. There she is.
And just as a reminder, you have to state your name and where you're calling from, or where you're calling in from.
Okay, roll call for 3/24/21. Megan,
Present from Chesterfield Township, Michigan, Macomb County, attending virtually.
Linda,
Linda Bush attending virtually from Chesterfield Township in Macomb County, Michigan.
Nick,
Nick Shimatero attending virtually from Roseville in Macomb County, Michigan.
Ryan,
Ryan Fantuzzi attending virtually in Clinton Township, Michigan.
Dana,
Good evening, everybody. Dana Frears attending virtually from Fraser, Macomb County, Michigan.
Phil,
Phil Kraft attending remotely from Chesterfield Township, Macomb County, Michigan.
Brian,
Brian DeGovan, attending remotely from Macomb Township, Macomb County, Michigan.
Chris,
Chris O'Connell, attending remotely from Clinton Township, Michigan, Macomb County.
Lori,
Attending remotely, Lori Phillips from Macomb Township, Michigan in Macomb County.
Tony, Tony, you're on mute. There you
Finally
go.
figured that out. Thank you. Tony Palua speaking from Shelby Township, Michigan and Macomb County.
Selena,
Selena Schmidt attending remotely from Shelby Township, Michigan, Macomb County.
and Kathy.
Kathy Vosberg. I don't know where I am. I'm in Chesterfield Township in Macomb County, Michigan.
That is the complete roll call.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next is the reading of the mission statement, which I will do tonight. Our mission is Macomb County Community Mental Health, guided by the values, strengths, and informed choices of the people we serve, provides quality services which provide recovery, community participation, self-sufficiency, and independence. Next, item number 3, adoption of the agenda. A motion would be in order.
We'll move.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, hearing of the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this body? Anyone from the public? If you do, remember to unmute yourself. You have 5 minutes. Anyone from the public? Hearing none.
Yes, Joan Flynn, but I'll speak at the end.
Okay, Joan. Welcome. Next is item number 5, the minutes, approval of the minutes of the Community Mental Health Full Board meeting held on February 24.
So moved, Burke.
Support
Bush.
Fantuzzi. Linda can have it.
Oh, well.
Any questions or comments on the minutes? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes of the program and budget meeting, which was held on March 10 of 2021.
So moves Fantuzzi.
Support Schmidt.
Phillips,
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Then next is request to approve some items here. A is a request to approve the contract with 3 vendors for assertive community treatment. That's Easter Seal, CNS Healthcare, and Hope Network.
Move to approve, McGolden.
All right.
Support Schmidt.
Any discussion on that? That was vetted at our prior meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next is request to approve premium pay increase.
So move, Nick.
Support Burke.
Any further discussion on that was discussed at our prior meeting? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And item C, permission to use the issued RFP for community needs assessment.
So move, Nick.
Support McGolden.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. Next is a new item, a request to approve the increase to hospital rate.
Move to approve.
Support Phillips.
Okay, motion by Bush, supported by Phillips. Dave, who is addressing this issue?
I'll speak to it. We've looked at, well, we are looking at our rates across the board. We're looking at our services. We have some new data reports in place, and the community needs assessment that you just approved the RFP for will all help us kind of inform our services going forward. We have been, when I started in December of 18, it became very obvious that Macomb had the lowest hospital daily rate or per diem in the state. So I knew that was an issue. With our improved financial situation, we were able to increase that back in October to $40. We'd like to go up another 50, so we'd be at $650 a day, which is, we're not the highest, but we're kind of in the running near the bottom of the pack now. But hopefully, not that hospitals, choose people based on the amounts of money that they might be getting for that person, but we don't want any of our people at a disadvantage when we're making those referrals. So any hospital that's currently not at $650 a day or more, we would like to move them to $650. This will also allow us to contract with some additional hospitals who were refusing to contract with us for a standard contract because of our rates were low. So we've had some people we've had to refer to non-contracted hospitals. That involves a single case agreement, which goes through Christina's network operations department. They do that quickly, but there is sometimes a little delay in there. So now we can contract with more hospitals, and hopefully we'll see some overall improvements there.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? from
Madam
board
Chair.
members? Yes.
Madam Chair, I would like to remind that I have abstained from this discussion at the program and budget meeting, and I would like it to carry forward into this.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, same is true for me. This is Chris O'Connell.
All right, thank you. If you could both state reasons why. Chris?
The decision would actually directly impact my regular work, so I feel that there's a conflict. So I'd like to abstain from vote.
Thank you.
I
And Selena?
currently work for a health system that this would address.
Thank you. Just ask you to state that for the record, so. Any other questions from board members? Okay, we have all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So let the record reflect that they're all voted aye with two abstained and the rest voted aye. Thank you. And the next item is
E.
letter E, financial amendment. We need a motion for that.
Motion to approve of O'Connell.
Support Burke.
Okay. Dave, you want to explain that or find someone who will?
Yeah, I will happily find somebody that can explain that. Richard, if you'd like to take that item.
Yes, can I share my screen?
Sure.
All right, it is. Oh, I think it was waiting for you to stop, Dave, so. Is everyone able to see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have to make it bigger is all.
Sorry about that. What we have here is our first amendment, requested amendment to the fiscal year 2021 budget. Just a little bit of the background is that, we did, historically, we have presented our budgets in such a way that we do our best to plan for the year, and not knowing exactly what the revenue might look like for the year. The big difference this year that I'll talk about is that there was an assumed reduction in revenue that was going to take place during the middle of this fiscal year, and that had to do with our expectation that sometime during the middle of the year, we would actually see a decrease in the number of eligibles that we are getting paid for from our Medicaid capitation. And again, just a reminder, this is our budget that we were putting together last summer, and we had no idea how long the pandemic was planning to last. We had no idea what the different federal policies that would be around the pandemic. And so the assumption at the state level that we adopted as well is that sometime in the January through April timeframe, we were expecting eligibility to decrease. At this point in time, the state continues to receive an enhanced federal match. So the amount of federal money that we receive is higher currently, but one of the requirements is that individuals cannot fall off of Medicaid. So the number of eligibles that we have currently and the number that we anticipate for the remainder of the year is much, much higher than what we would have budgeted for. So the primary thing that we're doing in this budget amendment is we're reprojecting the revenue that we anticipate receiving for fiscal year 21, and then budgeting expenses to go along with that revenue. So with that background, I'll just walk through it relatively quickly. We have a couple of key assumptions. So again, rebased payments for our Medicaid and Healthy Michigan plan revenue makes up the majority of those increases. New expenditures would potentially occur related to the premium pay expenditures. So again, we have the premium pay that will extend through the end of the year. No changes in our CMHSP contract revenue at this time. There is a little bit of a decline that you'll see related to our substance abuse prevention and treatment block grant. No change related to our Public Act 2 funding that we received for substance use disorders. A little bit of a decrease in SUD related block grants, and then payroll related costs are included at 80% of the position range. So as we look at the amendment we're recommending, you see that there's about a $25 million revenue increase to $282,000. We do have some investment income of $500,000 here that is not changing, but the two added together, our operating revenue and our investment income, is $283,109,395, and that equals our recommended revised expense budget of $283,109,395. So a relatively straightforward amendment related to the increased revenue that we're anticipating and then budgeting expenses to match. But if there are any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to try to address those for the board this evening.
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
What is exactly that $500,000 investment income expenses?
So in our financial statements, we have what's called non-operating revenues and expenses. So this is actually revenue, and it is kind of weird that it shows at the bottom, but it's revenue related to when we have cash that we have received from the department, and that is being held by the county treasurer in investments. It does earn interest and investment income. And so we are estimating how much money our cash will earn in investment income for this fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Does this have to go over to the Board of Commissioners and or the Office of the Executive?
So yes, our next step after approval by this body would be to present this to the Office of the Executive and then to present it to County Commission.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and support. All in favor of approving the budget amendment, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is item, I'm scrolling here. Help me, please. Oh, it's
A receive and file. Item 8.
Item 8, receive and file. Are there any items for receive and file? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 9, which is resolutions. And the first one is a resolution for Don Nagy, who was the chair of the Citizens Advisory Council. A motion to approve it in order. We saw this at our program and budget, and I believe Mr. Nagy has already resigned his position, was presented this. We just need to ratify.
Support. Did you get a support?
Did you hear my motion, Kathy? I'm sorry. I think I talked over you. It's Megan.
Yes, I heard it. Thank you.
I did read this to Don at the last CAC meeting, and we'll make sure he gets the official copy.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and support. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 And the next item is a resolution. Linda, go ahead, say something.
Oh, the next item is a resolution. Is a resolution. Hearing feedback. I'd like to present an official resolution.
Where's your thing? Where's your phone?
Hold on one second. We have a technical thing.
For now.
Is this where the party is?
We're on the way over.
Where's that video? There. Oh, wait, just a second. Up here. Oh, that's you.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
We can see you.
Resolution to recognize and commend and pay tribute to Kathy Basper in honor of her exceptional commitment to supporting the mental health and substance use treatment needs of the residents of Macomb County, and to supporting and sustaining the public mental health system in Michigan. Whereas since 2008, Kathy Busberg has supported the needs of those served by CMH with dedication, compassion, and focus as a member, and then 4 years as the chairperson of the Macomb County Community Mental Health Board. And whereas during her tenure, Ms. Busberg has been called upon to navigate the organization through some troubling waters, including significant budget cuts, leadership changes, and changes in delivery of service. Ms. Bosberg's leadership style is truly admirable. She knows how to lead a meeting, get things done. She is able to manage difficult people and situations. Why is she looking at me? Treating all parties honorably while maintaining the positive flow and tone of the process overall. She is calm and thoughtful and deliberate in her approach to decision-making and oversight, effectively balancing focus on both service delivery and responsible use of available resources. Whereas Ms. Fosberg has been a constructive and thoughtful mentor, seeking to encourage and provide ongoing workshops, training, and exposures to CMH services, all designed to enhance the knowledge of individual board members. She is patient and supportive of new board members as they learn the procedures and practices of a public board. She inspires confidence, encourages others to recognize and use their own leadership skills. She reminds all of us that our decisions should keep the person served top of mind. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Macomb County Board, Community Mental Health Board, on behalf of the Macomb County citizens and the families we serve, expresses its appreciation, gratitude, and best wishes to Ms. Fosberg for her exceptional efforts on their behalf, and hopes to count on her as a friend of CMH for many years to come. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the records of the Macomb County Community Mental Health for all time, and that a suitable copy be presented to Ms. Fosberg as a testament of the high esteem in which she is held by the CMH board and the people we serve. So Phil, oh, you don't have, wait, step back. Can you see us?
Yeah.
Okay, oh, very good.
So we're
well,
presenting
thank
the
you.
resolution.
Nice job, Linda.
Woohoo!
Very
Thank you very
nice.
much, everybody.
Great.
And it doesn't all just go on her wall.
Oh, my.
She has
Oh.
Well, thank you.
and more presents
Oh, my goodness.
Ah,
Thank you very much.
and more presents.
Well, thank you. I appreciate this very much.
We can open it up if you want to make comments. A lot of people wrote to Lori Galloway, of course, wrote the resolution, so she always does. And Kathy has let a lot of people leave with one of those good resolutions. And now we're sorry to see you go, but wish you the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. The Board of Commissioners last week had presented something, and for which I was very grateful. It seems, let me take this off. It seems like
yeah.
I've been part of this for longer than I actually have, but yet it's a lifetime passion. So for probably all of us on this board, it's a passion we all have, caring for and overseeing the way that a certain segment of our population is cared for. And it's a group effort. We all do it together as a board, and of course, our dedicated staff, especially, who provide all the services to everyone. So thank you, everybody, for all the service you provide as well.
We love you, Kathy.
And you still have to run the rest of the meeting.
All right, I'll still do that. Joan, do you want to say something now?
Yeah. Can I say something now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You know, I've known Kathy Bosberg for a long time before she had grandbabies.
Yeah.
And Kathy entered my life when she was elected county commissioner in 2002. That was before she had the grandbabies too. But we always traveled together. But she was always off to South Dakota with her hubby, dear. I was serving on the mental health board, and they needed another commissioner. So what did I do? I remember Kathy's. She's such a good worker, and I persuaded her to go for it. On the CMM board many years. Then she was nominated honorable chair. She served on many organizations. SEMCOG, you were chair there in 2012. Kathy, she just loves to hold the gavel. She served on Selfridge Council. Now she's trustee of Chesterfield, plus her other jobs. I traveled with Kathy from California to Washington, D.C., and a good trip to Milwaukee with hubby Garrett. We always brought good information home, always attended meetings, time to work and a time to play. We did a lot of playing. She has an excellent memory, and I have good memories also. At Mr. Paul's, that was our restaurant. Kathy is one of my favorite people. Truly, Kathy, you are blessed. And whatever you do the rest of your life, I'm sure you'll enjoy and be successful. And I'll see you at Mr. Paul's for lunch.
Right.
Oh, thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Kathy. Love you.
That's very sweet. Thank you. I have here's my
There's your
gavel.
gavel. You're going to shut me up. Thank you for letting me speak.
You're welcome.
Good to see Joan. Very good to see Joan.
Yeah, it's good to see you all. You're all the same, a little older.
Welcome home.
Look at you, eh? Who's the newest on the board?
Oh, we've got some new members.
Do you?
Yeah, we'll maybe at the end some people can talk to Joan. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think we probably need to just call the vote here after you gave this to me. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And next is vouchers. List of the bills to pay. Motion to approve is in order.
Motion to approve, pay the bills, McGolden.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, everyone. The bills that have or will be paid have been approved. Next is item 11, the management report.
The first one is our compliance update. Stacy's having some technical difficulties, so I will be audiovisual guy and run through her slides. As long as they're part of this packet here. That's a lot of vouchers we're paying for.
Yeah, page 122.
Scroll, oh, there we go.
Good evening, everybody. This will be a relatively quick presentation as it has been in the past. Thank you for allowing us to come and present. This will be the first time we've combined the due process component, as that department became my responsibility late November, early December. Next slide, Dave. I had introduced our team in December. Unfortunately, my slides didn't work at that time, but Anwar Gulati and Lori Valuet have joined our team. Lori does the local appeals coordination, and Andrew Gulati, Anwar, is our ombudsperson. He handles our grievances for our agency. And so those two folks, we're going to provide some information and some data points relative to their tasks that they actively engage in. We do have one position open within the department that was an ABO vacancy. At this point in time, I don't believe we need to fill it. We are dwindling down in cases. We're not sure if we're going to have a huge uptake after COVID or not, but that is a position. Next slide, please. The first quarter being we go by fiscal years, there were 4 open, 3 closed. 1 is pending an OIG investigation. All 3 of those were substantiated. When we say take back, if it is an external provider, we are taking back funds from that provider for a substantiated compliance case. If it is an internal provider, we just essentially go back into the BH TEDS and we unclaim those services with the department. So we aren't able to recoup those funds. Those are funds that essentially are kind of lost to the agency. The December report that I provided had the numbers. We actually had 2 very large cases of fraud that were internal that we did have to do about $53,000 of reversed claims on those. When I reported to you a couple of months ago, we talked about the situation at the drop-in centers where there was a large amount of money missing. That matter was referred to the Macomb County Sheriff's Department. I spoke with the detective last Monday. They have indeed been able to complete their investigation and they're sending it to the prosecutor's office. They've identified essentially who had been stealing the funds, and they will proceed with a criminal case against those folks. I give a whole lot of credit to Diane Mezen and Bruce Dutton. We actually were able to file a claim with the insurance company. They had a insurance policy that will allow us to potentially recoup all of those funds in that manner. That their insurance plan, if indeed one of the employees engaged in embezzlement or other legal acts, it covered them for up to, I believe, $1 million. So that's good news. We're not going to have a loss there. We had a great meeting with the new director of the drop-in centers, and it sounds like things are moving forward very well. They've gotten their finances under control, and the program is having an uptick in people who are actively engaged in the program. Next slide. So our ongoing efforts, we're revisiting the compliance plan. Our current compliance plan is 42 pages. It's not something that somebody would sit down and read for fun. It's not something that if I were to give to providers, they would be able to say, wow, okay, this is super easy to do. It's also a lot of regurgitation of the OIG requirements. We'd like to have something that's more user-friendly that we could then provide as a guidance tool document. We have gone through and we've done a tremendous amount of closing cases from last fiscal year, and actually the year before. When I came in, there were over 220 open cases with compliance, some of them going back to 2018. We have gone through, and again, our focus being fraud, waste, and abuse. Faria and Madison have done a phenomenal job. It's not easy to call somebody and ask them about a case from 2018, 2019, but those folks have been able to dig down and dig deep, and we're closing out a lot of those cases. We continue to participate in ongoing meetings with internal and external providers related to compliance trends and prevention. It appears that I'll be part of a panel for the Improving Outcomes Conference about compliance trends in the state. Participating in the PIHP Compliance Officers Group, there have been a couple of issues that have come up that have really kind of raised the spidey senses on PIHP compliance officers and concerns for things coming out of COVID. The Corporate Compliance Committee met last month. We continue to meet on an ongoing basis quarterly, and this is again our report out to the board. Next slide. Local appeals. This would be our first quarter. We had 33. 7 of those are withdrawn. 6 of them were, when we say approved, that means that the decision that was made by our access center, that we overturned them. And if we denied them, that means that we upheld the decision that the Access Center made. I asked Lori when she produces this report to give us some idea of what kind of services we're seeing the most of these cases on. Community living supports and respite, always been a high number here. Personal care and a specialized residential is one we hit quite often. Residential is not a covered service, but if a person requests personal care in a specialized residential, that is a covered service. And then we had 9 that were from various other covered services. I believe ACT came up a couple of times. Next slide. For our grievances, there were 12. Anwar does a fabulous job of trending those as well. What are people calling us about? If it's a quality of care, if it's service concerns, if it's financial matters. The definition of a grievance is any expression of dissatisfaction not related to an action. This is an incredibly broad category. The due process rights in the Code of Federal Regulations give everybody the right to file a grievance, not to be mistaken for a recipient rights complaint. And so these were the areas that we saw grievances in. We can't always remedy what the person is requesting, but we do take those grievances in and they're processed in a formal fashion with an acknowledgement and a disposition letter, and we track those for the state as well. Next slide. Medicaid fair hearings, we've had 11. 6 of these have been dismissed, several of them for lack of jurisdiction. 2 of them, our decision was upheld. Actually, I just got the decision order on this case this morning at 8 a.m. That was pending decision order. That one was dismissed as well, meaning that the judge does not have jurisdiction over those matters. 2 of these were reversed and returned for reassessment. Reverse means that in some cases, the judges will say your decision was reversed and the person presented medical necessity to support the need for the service. In these 2 cases, the judge reversed the decisions and returned them for reassessment, basically indicating that the coverage determinations that had been done were not complete to the satisfaction of regulatory standards. And so as a result, we have to reassess those services. So this is good. This basically means that we're going in the right direction. We're doing a lot of education with the provider network. I've met with several of the agencies about, I don't go to hearings unless we can support the decision made by the agency. If it's one that is, we need to go back and revisit it. If we think that more information will support the needs for the person, then that is what we do. I've met several times with the ARC about this, where the case that was presented, if you look at the evidence, it would not support the request being made, but when you go back and provide additional information, it will. We always want to err on the side of caution. Our greatest concern at the moment is the low numbers. We should have far, far, far more hearings and local appeals. The change in 2018 in the Code of Federal Regulations indicated a person had to go to local appeal before Medicaid fair hearing. These numbers are dismally low. I've reached out to find out what may or may not be going on. Is it that we're approving more things than we would as a result of COVID? There hasn't been really an explanation for this trend, but in my past history of PIHPs, we should be seeing far, far, far higher numbers. I should be seeing, you know, the last PIHP I was at, I usually did about 200 hearings a year. Lori has indicated her numbers of local appeals have dropped drastically. So we'll be continuing to look into what is causing this low trend. We're also increasing our education associated with due process. We're revising our information that's available on the intranet and the internet, and also our printed materials, so that we can assure that that information is getting out there and people are aware of their due process rights. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for the board members? Thank you, Stacy, for the report. Appreciate it. Motion to receive and file is in order.
So move.
Support Phillips.
Lori.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, report is received. Thank you again, Stacy. Next is the CFO report.
All right, we have for you this evening the January monthly finance report. Just a few highlights for the board this evening. As you will see, our revenue for this year continues to be above revenue a year ago, and that is a result of 2 things. First, as we mentioned, the increased eligibility, which we can see on our second graph. Our eligibility continues to be above not only where we were a year ago, but consistent and above where we ended last fiscal year. So that growth continues to this point. Also, we did receive a rate increase on October 1st of a few percentages. So that not only do we have more people we're getting paid for every month, but we get more per person that we're getting paid. every month. Just a quick reminder, there is a spike here in November, and that has to do with the extra DCW funding that we received for October, November, and December. Next month, you'll see another spike in February to cover our January and February DCW from the legislature. And then what we're hearing from the department.
There's a lot of.
What we're hearing from the department is that for the March through September DCW, they're going to build that into our April rates. But rather than to have just one big lump payment in April, they're going to actually spread that out over the last 6 months of the year. So we'll see a little bit of an uptick in April, and then we should flatten out for the remainder of the year. Just a couple of highlights related to some of our comparatives. Cash continues to be significantly higher now versus at the end of last year. That is primarily related to the increase in revenue, and we're not yet seeing an increase in the spending related to that revenue. So cash being higher is anticipated. Revenue also is projected to be higher this year by about 13 million from the end of last year. And the primary reason for that increase, again, is the additional eligibles and the additional rate that we're receiving per eligible. So we're keeping track of both of those. When we look at the summary of what that causes us to, where that causes us to be at the end of January, we are showing that our Medicaid and autism combined surplus is about 16 million. Healthy Michigan of about 4 million. That's a total Medicaid surplus of, our Medicaid and Healthy Michigan surplus of about 20 million for the first 4 months of our fiscal year. And State General Fund a surplus of about 1.8 million. We anticipate, and we're finalizing the fiscal year 2020 final reports for the department. Those are due at the middle of next week. So on March 31st, those are due. I'm in the final review stage of those reports before we submit those. We have enough information to confirm that we will end 2020 fully funded. So full risk reserve and full Medicaid savings. And we anticipate that that will be true at the end of 2021 as well. Those are the highlights for the January finance report. If there are any questions or concerns, I'm happy to either research those or try to answer those for the board this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Motion to receive and file is in order.
Motion to receive and file. Philip?
Support.
Okay, motion by Phillips, support by Kraft. Any further comments or questions for Richard? Okay, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We have received it. Thank you. Next is the CEO report.
Well, I promised Kathy I would keep my report short tonight. Kathy, I will miss you. I'm sure we'll still be able to chat every now and then, hopefully. Kind of picking up on Richard's comments, I covered a lot of the efforts, updates that we're working on in the board study session. We continue to have good efforts in those areas. We are looking at additional steps. So we did remove or stop the prior authorization requirement for psychiatric services. So prior to that, we were prior authorizing every single service for every single person. In order to help make services more accessible and allow the providers to be more flexible in the services that they're providing. I have another longer list of services that we're looking to turn off the prior authorization for. As a reminder, that does not mean that it's a free-for-all. The providers still have to follow the plan of service. They have to follow the Medicaid medical necessity criteria. And we will be looking at retrospective data reports And with the help of Sabrina, I do now have 2 fiscal years worth of trend data of individual services that look at the number of unique people seen every month, the total number of units provided in a month, and what we paid for those units. So now we're starting to get that trend data that will be so helpful for us going forward. And anything else we can do at the front door. We did make some changes to our homeless outreach services. We've expanded Connie's budget so she can continue to do her good work in our community. And we've told her that, you know, if she exhausts that budget, come back and see us. Bruce Dunton at the clubhouse, I had that same chat, and they're looking at some more technology upgrades that'll help Bruce continue the good work going on at our clubhouse, even though we have all of these restrictions with our pandemic. So a lot of community outreach, a lot of sharing with our providers. Again, our staff are doing a wonderful job. Our providers are keeping everything, the services going right now during this time of need. So I wish we could do more faster for people, but we are moving full steam ahead in those areas. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from any of the board members for Dave? Okay. Are there any possible other agenda items from any of the members, the board members? And before we do, I would also like to take this time to thank Brian Nagalvin and Tony Plua for their years on the board. Brian, how many years have you been on this board?
I think it's 2003, somewhere around there.
Wow.
2004.
Very good. Thank you again for your service and the heart and passion that you also had for the people we serve. And then one of the things that impressed me about you was also the people with whom you work, and you always wanted to make sure that they had the support they needed when there were situations outside of the job that impacted their performance on the job. I noticed that, and I appreciated that about you.
I appreciate working with everybody. I mean, it's truly a team. We disagree to agree, but we get the job done. And the focus for everybody that's on the board is about the community as a whole. And it's been a real pleasure working with you. And I'm not going nowhere. I'll still be around and still advocating for it. And there's something I can do. Just give me a holler anytime. Any one of the board members, or Dave too, give me a holler. If I can put political pressure on something or whatever else, let me know.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. We will be working on other resolutions. That just happened too quick for us, but yes, thank you very much, Brian and Tony.
Any other board members with any agenda items? Okay,
I have a comment.
Yes, Tony.
First of all, there's so many good things that have gone on in the year and a half that I was there. And I'm the guy that replaced Joan Flynn. Joan, you might be happy to hear that. I'm just thrilled, mainly with all the good things that are happening, and particularly the financial performance that has happened lately. And I'm thrilled that those frightening denials that we were getting a couple of years ago are gone. And I want to say a special thank you to David and Richard, or anybody else in this group that has supported that. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. And the other thing I might want to mention is that I am a recent designee for the Policy and Legislative Committee at Community Mental Health of Michigan, representing the metro region. And that's an assignment that you all will have to find a replacement. So that's my request, to take a look at that. And by the way, I'm keeping everybody's telephone numbers just in case we need them for some reason. And thank you all, and Kathy, especially to you. You are kind of an angel for me too.
Thank you, Tony.
Wish you well, Tony.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Then I'll move on to hearing of the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this board?
Yes, I'm Joan Flynn, trustee of Macomb Community College. 13, do I have to give that information yet? 13810 Trafalgar, Warren, Michigan. And I didn't realize Brian was retiring too.
Oh, I'm not retired. I'm still around.
Oh, you're yeah, but are you still on the board?
No,
But you're still over here in Warren. Is that your office?
yes.
Okay, I have to drop by when I can.
Come by anytime.
And Kathy, I wanted to say that Kathy went up the chairs at SEMCON. She was first vice, second vice, and then chair of SEMCON for 2 years. It's a 1-year term, isn't it, Kathy?
Yeah, of the chairmanship, yes. Well, Joan was my mentor in that whole thing, so thank you, Joan, again.
Oh.
Are there any other comments from the public?
No.
Anyone else? All right, seeing and hearing none, we are on to item number 14, which is adjournment.
Kathy, Sean, did you have something? I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, I was trying to raise my hand. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sean. I wasn't paying attention to that part of it. So go ahead.
That's okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sean. I'm with CEO. I live in Macomb. CEO continues to offer telehealth to people served for 6 hours a day. Last month, we only had 2 people served attending. And I'm pleased to say that in March, we have 11 people on telehealth daily. Some of these people served are completely new to CEO as well. Our physical in-building daily attendance across our locations are steadily on the rise. With vaccines more readily available to the public, the people served and staff are getting their shot and attending CEO daily in full confidence. CEO is also engaging in weekly Spirit Wednesdays, where persons served and staff are offered to participate in special weekly attire to boost morale and have fun amongst persons served and staff. CEO is still offering creative academies for those physically attending. There has been a larger participation from our persons served that attended daily. CEO is also delivering a virtual newsletter called Creative Connections, advertisings, and links for our telehealth throughout, what CEO is doing and how we're in compliance with the home and community-based setting rule. Our persons served that are still currently operating their micro businesses and our locations and means of contacting us. Finally, CEO is diligently and continuously ensuring that persons served and staff alike remain in a safe and healthy environment. CEO's COVID-19 response plan is made to mirror and abide by CDC and governing authoritative guidelines when and however they may change. As always, thank you for your time. And then on a closing note as well, best wishes to you, Kathy. It's only been a short time that I've known you as well, but people speak very well of your tenure and also take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to address this board? Anyone else from the public? Well, this will be my last time calling for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion by Pluma, support by Nagovin. It's non-discussing, so we will take the vote to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you all. It's been-
Chris, Kathy.